Have you ever felt like you were doing all of the right things and still not seeing the promises of God come to pass? I've been there, and let me tell you, I almost missed out on my kingdom spouse because of this one thing that I did not even know was holding me back. At the time, I thought I was doing everything right too, sis. I was going to church, I was praying, I was fasting, I was in prayer group, I was going to the gym, I was in therapy, and I'm like, God, what is going on? But it wasn't until I took a step back and really let God lead that things really started to fall into place, like literally. So today I want to share my story because if you've ever felt frustrated or stuck or just wondering like, why? Where is my man? Where is my husband? This may be the very thing you need to hear. So what's up, cousins? It is Lex of Lex and Lev. And if you're new here, my husband and I create content to help you hope in love after loss. And so today I am sharing my story of the one thing that almost kept me from meeting him. And so in order to tell this story and for this to really make sense, I have to go back to like when I was a teenager. And I promise you, it's gonna make sense. When I was a teenager, my parents were awesome. Shout out to mom and dad. But one of the things that my dad taught me was how to be really independent. Yes, yo, today we're talking about independence, especially from a woman's perspective, because we live in a society where you almost have to be. Like, everyone is going to work. We've kind of moved away from this like one income household. So we have to learn how to be just as self-sufficient as the guys do. And for me, this started very early. My dad was teaching me how to cut grass, how to change light bulbs, how to change oil, like how to do all the things. And then when I was a teenager, my parents provided for me with everything that I needed. When it came to things that I wanted, especially like big ticket items, I was pretty much on my own. So I got my first job at 15. I bought my first phone, I bought my first car, I paid for college, I moved out on my own at 18. I was very independent. And to be honest, it was something that I prided myself on, and to a degree still do. I think that there's nothing wrong with taking pride in being able to take care of yourself and be self-sufficient and being proud of your accomplishments. But what I didn't realize was this mindset was really only serving me for that season. Because what happened was, as I got older, life started lifing. Like for real, like life really started lifing. And if you know my story, you know that prior to being with Lev, I was previously married and I lost my husband, my first husband in 2019. And for me, that was obviously a life-changing event. But one of the ways that it marked me was I felt like I couldn't trust God. Even though he hadn't done anything, it was the first time, like for real, that I was like, if God couldn't turn this around for me, why would I trust him to turn other things around for me? So I'm just gonna take care of myself. So it was like that mindset of being independent that I had grown up with had kind of been twisted into something that now had become a stronghold. And so for the first couple years of my widowhood, I was hyper fixated on doing things myself to the point where I literally worked myself into a mental breakdown because I just didn't have any reliance on God. I knew him, I loved him, but when it came to trust, I just didn't have it. And so I finally came to the end of myself one day and I was just like, God, I can't do this anymore. Like I cannot carry the weight and the load of this life by myself. And I remember hearing the Lord tell me, how can you receive what I have for you if you won't allow me to give it to you? That stopped me dead in my tracks. Like, what do you mean? Like, I want it all. I want all the blessings, like rain down blessings. But the fact of the matter is that when God wants to do it, God wants the glory. And when we are trying to make things happen and force things into place, there's no glory for him in that. The glory is ours. Like I did that. I made that happen. So it's like, where is God in it? Slowly but surely, as I began to realize like, oh, wait a minute. I don't have to do these things by myself. Even though I'm not married, even though I'm a single mom, I am not alone. I started rebuilding trust with God again. I started praying and asking him to lead my decisions and to give me the plan and to really make my heart align with his. Like, God, what is your will for my life? Like, I don't want to make a move unless you tell me what it is. And having the faith to take action on it. So here's the part where I almost missed out on my kingdom spouse. I'm going through the motions of, not going through the motions, but you know what I mean? Like rebuilding my trust with God. And I got to this place where I was like, God, I am ready to move. Now, if you saw my testimony video, then you know where I'm picking up this story. But essentially, after my husband passed, I moved from Miami to Dallas. If you want the whole story, watch the testimony video. I was in Denver, Colorado, and after spending some time there, I was ready to leave. And I asked the Lord, where would you have me go? Like, what's next? And the Lord told me, Dallas, Texas. And it was a tussle, you know, because I, again, was wrestling with trust, but also the courage to move to a place I'd never been. But once I finally made the decision to do so, the following month was when I met my kingdom spouse. And so here's the thing, here's how I almost missed out. Had I not postured myself in a way to say, Lord, I don't want to make a move without you. I don't want to do this by myself. I don't want to be the Lord of my life. You are the Lord of my life. Had I not done that, I would not have been in Dallas. And I would not have been in position when I met my kingdom spouse, because at the time, if you know Lev's story or have heard our story, he had just moved to Dallas as well. And so I don't know if the relationship would have even happened if the plan wasn't for us to be in the same city. And I don't know if I would have agreed to move for such a new relationship. So the fact that I had already made plans to move, was moving forward on my plans, and then met someone that was already living in Dallas, I know that it was all orchestrated by God. It could only be orchestrated by God, because what are the odds? So I say all of that to say, sis, I get it. You know, some of us have had to grow up that way, where we have had to be independent for the sake of our survival. Like, some of us would not have survived if we weren't independent. Some of us would not have the things that we have today or have the accomplishments that we have if it weren't for the fact that we had that get up and go get it mentality. But when it comes to having a kingdom spouse, when it comes to having the things that God has for you, there's nothing that you need to do except posture yourself to receive. Open up your hands and say, Lord, I surrender to whatever it is that you have for me. And there may be some twists and turns. God may need to prepare you. God may need to prune you a little bit, but just know that all of that is happening in preparation to receive his best for you. And so if this video resonated with you, or you're like, man, that's me, but I don't know what to do next, I want to invite you to the Kingdom Love Unlocked workshop. At the time of this recording, it is happening this Saturday, February 1st, live on Zoom. And it's going to be a time where you're going to learn, most definitely, how to release control and how to really let go and let God, so you can receive his best for you. We'll leave the registration link in the description box below. If you're watching this video and the workshop has already happened, make sure to check our content, because we may be running another workshop, or you can catch the replay. So I just want to remind you, because I know sometimes it can be hard or just lonely at times, that waiting for God's best is always worth it, because when you let him lead, you will never miss out. So that's it for today's video. I love you. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.